Today we're having a look at the Sofirn IF19. So this has TIR optic just like the Sofirn IF22A. It has the USB Type-C charging with full support for C2C. Bit of fins on the head area, then you've got side switch with battery status indicator. A bit of knurling on the body as well as on the head around the bezel, and that gives quite good grip, and that's kind of how I would hold such a small model like this. You've got lanyard attachment on the tail as well as a smooth base for tail standing. So this TIR optic provides a good beam. It's quite a tight beam, still good sufficient spill as well, just like the IF22A. This was just released with the SST40. You cannot buy it, sold out, you can't buy it anywhere at the moment, and they're updating it to come with the SFT40. So that's going to provide further range. They sent me 2 of the SST40 units as well as an SFT40 LED that I've reflowed into one of them to give a comparison for my footage. It runs on 18350 battery here, but I actually installed, this is a Workhorse HD15 18650 tube, and you can use an 18650 battery. If you use a flat top, you'll need a little adapter here, which I will link in the description to the Convoy store. It's just that there's just a solid contact here, there's no spring, and so there's too much movement in there for a flat top, but if you use a button top then it's perfectly fine. So, you know, the build quality on it is pretty good. There are like a little bit of a sharp edge there on the lanyard attachment, but overall very, very good units. There are some issues, and some of them are quite major, and I've reported them to Sofirn, and hopefully they get sorted out. One very minor one is the side switch. You know, on these units, on a lot of the Sofirn models, the switches are like that of this type are quite mushy. There's quite a lot of travel till they actually click. Just a bit of play in there. One thing is the auto lockout feature that they've got in the UI. So if you haven't used it for a while, and it will auto lock itself. So normally, I can't show it to you at the moment. It's not locked, but I can just lock it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's locked like that, unlocking it will turn on to its last used memorized level, which is really terrible because sometimes your eyes have adjusted, or you get up in the night, you just want a dim light, and you can just hold from lockout, which will give you a nice moonlight level, but you can't turn it on, it's locked. So you can't turn it on in moonlight and then increase in brightness from there. You're going to be hit with whatever was last used. So if that's high or turbo, I just don't like it. So either disable that feature or give the user the option to be able to enable or disable that. This was advertised with thermal regulation that triggers at 55 degrees Celsius. That doesn't work. I don't know whether it was ever whether it was actually ever on there, planned to be on there to begin with, because what is on there is a 60-second turbo timer. So when it gets to 60 seconds, it reduces in brightness. With the 18350 battery, that's perfectly fine. It steps down at 40 degrees Celsius and doesn't get too hot. With an 18650 tube with Samsung 30Q, the first step down was at 60 degrees Celsius. I reactivated turbo a second time, and it hit 85 degrees Celsius and it was still climbing. So I quickly shut it off. So this does need addressing. It does need some kind of thermal regulation there when it hits temperatures that are just too high. The onboard charging is set at 1 amp. Now if you use an 18650 battery, that's perfectly fine. You don't want to go below that. But their 18350 battery here shown on the AliExpress page, this has got a maximum charge current of 0.42 amps. So the 1 amp onboard charging is charging it at over twice the speed that it should be. And so that's, I mean, you could just not get the supplied 18350 and you could try and find something else like the Keep Power battery that can allow up to 1.1 amps. But charging it faster, it may not be a problem. You're just going to reduce the life of that battery a lot faster. But it's something that I wouldn't be comfortable gifting, and some, you know, like a family member charging it at that speed when it is only rated on the data sheet as, you know, under half that. But, you know, do what you like, just keep that in mind. With the Samsung 30Q or any high drain 18650 battery, it's actually at turn on driving my SFT40 at 12.2 amps, which is way too high. It should be maxing out at about 8 amps. So it's, you know, with the SST40, I measured 9.4 amps. And I'm not sure if that's too high on that chip. For the first versions of the SST40, they were failing at just over 8 amps. But I've heard from a few people on the forums that got updated and it can handle higher current now. But yeah, I just don't know. With the measured current was with my clamp meter and with 8 gauge wire across the battery negative and the edge of the battery tube. And so with the tail cap installed with the spring, you're going to have introduced added resistance, and it may bring that current down to safe levels. So it may not be a problem at all to begin with. And I've been using it with the Samsung 30Q for heaps now, and I've seen no issues at all. But it's something I can't really confirm. So if you, you know, just to keep on the safe side, maybe you want to use a battery that has a limit of 10 amps max. But yeah, all my night footage is done with the Samsung 30Q to show the best possible performance, because I didn't have a higher performing 18350 battery. But yeah, it's a really, really good light, excellent performance. You just got to keep those things in mind. So I will just go over the UI, and I'll first unlock it because it would have locked itself. 1, 2. So one press on, one press off, hold from off, gets you moonlight. While it's on, hold low, medium and high, cycles through. Double press for turbo. 3 presses will go to strobe, which I won't go into. 4 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Switches between smooth and stepped ramping, so when you hold the switch, it increases and decreases in brightness smoothly. While it's off, you've got the 4 clicks for lockout and 2 clicks to unlock. So very, very simple. But yeah, I hope this this video was useful, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks, guys.